Hello and welcome to the 10X Automotive Weekly. My name is Jeff Bounds and I'm the head of Automotive with Grant Cardone and Cardone Automotive Resources. This is a really special show for me this morning because I want to announce a new member of our team, Steve Spray. Many of you are familiar with Steve. He's been with Grant now for 7.5 years. Yep. He's a guy that's been able to perform at the highest level. Steve also comes from the automotive business. So one of the things that's really important to me, and it's really important in our initiative here at Cardone Automotive Resources, is to bring people inside of the organization that have had experience in automotive retail, have been through the grind, been able to perform at a high level, so we can provide to you tactics and strategies that are going to get you to the next level. So Steve, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jeff. Guys, my name's Steve Spray. I'm the Director of Sales for Cardone Automotive. It's great to see everybody here. If you guys have ever watched the Wednesday Mastermind, you've seen me on that show. A lot of my automotive clients who I've already been working with for many years, you're probably on here as well. So it's good to see everybody. And Jeff, man, I'm super excited to be a part of what we're doing with 10X Automotive because we are constantly looking for new ways to help the dealers basically take what they're doing now, transition, get more sales, help more customers, and to be able to deliver more. So super excited to be a part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And what's interesting about this is, here at Cardone Enterprises, we have been doing things for years that dealerships still haven't adopted today. So we've already had, time-proven, tested strategies that we're going to be sharing with you every single week to be able to help you get to the next level. And let's just face it, in the past 3 or 4 years, the economy has been amazing. People have been pouring into the showrooms, internet leads have been blowing up, and it's essentially been like shooting fish in a barrel. But now, our whole world has changed over the past 60 to 90 days. It's the new normal, right? So now it's not an option if you want to adapt and you want to pivot, but it's essential. So the topic that we're going to talk about today is something that a lot of people forget about, because when most people think about, Grant Cardone, they think about, the sexy part of the automotive business, it's selling cars and closing deals. But I can tell you the one crucial aspect of not just the automotive business, but any business at all, is taking care of your clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something that we are really front and center on here at Cardone Enterprises. Just to give you an example, if you call our office here, 310-777-0255, right? You call that number, they're gonna answer the phone at least on the second ring, every single time.
Yeah, one of the policies is actually if it rings twice, it's for you. So, that's the thing. And I've been in the office when Grant picks up, hey, it's Grant Cardone's office, what can I get you information on? Why? Because if it rings twice, it's for you, because we're looking for that satisfaction with the customer. We're in a hurry to help people out. So that's been a policy since I've been here, since day one. And, it's always been super successful. And you know what? We get a lot of good feedback from that too. A lot of people, you guys are different over there. You guys are different. And that's truly what you want. You want to have that type of effect with your customers they can have that experience that basically says, man, I bought a vehicle with such and such group and man, they were different. That experience was different. Why? Because that is going to lead to next sales. That's going to lead to great customer experience. That's going to lead to all of the things that you want with the customer to have them satisfied. And so it comes down to a lot of speed, urgency, and willing to just, move quick to help them out.
Yeah. And it all starts with a solid foundation. I mean, one of my pet peeves has always been in the automotive business is most of the dealerships are set up with what's called an IVR system. So that's a really techie word. Probably none of you guys don't even understand what I'm talking about. But have you ever called into a dealer and you don't get a live agent? It just says, hey, press 1 if it's service, press 2 for sales. Well, you're already missing the bar there in a customer experience, because people today expect immediate engagement. It starts with the culture of what your organization understands is what is required. So whether they're calling service, they're calling sales, they're calling the finance department, they're calling to get title or tag, you have to have that consistency through the dealership. I was just talking to an owner the other day, and we were going through one of our consulting sessions, and he says, hey, what would you recommend right now in spending time with my team that you think will really take my customer experience to the next level, because he was struggling with his reviews, and we're going to get into that in a few seconds. But the one key component that I told him that'll change the game for him overnight is that anybody that calls that dealership needs to know what's going on in every department. So if they need title and tag and they reach somebody in the sales department, they need to know who to transfer that to. And when the call is transferred, it's not just, okay, yeah, hold on a second, let me transfer you over and just send them out into utopia. It needs to be a warm transfer, basically saying, hey, Steve, I have John on the line. He's waiting for his tags. What's going on with that? I'm just going to transfer you over, okay? And then there's a warm transfer. Guys, these are the little things that we haven't done for years. But if you want to morph into the future and you don't want to get paralyzed by modern retailing, because I'm telling you guys, it is the future, you need to adopt these today. You want to add something on that, Steve?
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is where a lot of the complaints come from. I mean, we have found that customers are typically not satisfied about their phone experience. So when they call in, when they reach out, they go, and you talk about being put on hold. This is what Grant's been talking about for many years. He says, look, you got to understand the buyer. You got to understand what their wants and needs are. And you got to understand that, look, that 30 seconds that you have them on hold, to you might just be 30 seconds. To me, it's a huge deal. I don't have time to wait. I don't want to wait. I actually get more frustrated as I have to sit there and wait. And this is what happens. So now if you plug people on these calls, what ends up happening is you also transfer it in, and now they're more frustrated. They weren't even frustrated to begin with, but now they are. And you've created that when you got to really understand that what they're trying to accomplish and think about the customer first.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just talking about the phone right now. So we're just getting cranked up, right? Mm-hmm. This is 2020, right? I mean, some of the people don't want to communicate on the phone. I mean, how many of you have tried to engage with your kids or people more in the millennial sector? You call them, they don't answer, you hit them with a text, they respond back like that. Because people want to be communicated with in the way that they prefer. So you need to have a solid strategy in place. This is not maybe, let me think about it. You need to have it in place today. If you're not, you're missing deals. You need to have a solid platform in place where you have chat handled, you have texting handled, and you have social media handled. And when these people engage on any of those mediums, you need to get back with them like that. Because there was a study that was done by Harvard Business School, and it said that today, a consumer patience is less than that of a goldfish. It's less than 7 seconds before their attention gets spun and then they move off and engage with somebody else. Not only that, but if you don't engage, you're going to get killed on your reviews. And everybody's shopping online. Whatever statistics you want to see, I've heard it, 80%, 85%. I think it's close to 100%. I don't know who's not looking online today. But if you're looking online, what is the first thing that you're going to do? You're going to look at the dealership and you're going to say, hey, let's look and see what kind of experience other customers have had. If you're getting killed, it's costing you deals.
Yeah, totally. And that's where, look, this just comes back to what are you doing? What are you even interested in? These customers, they may not always be ready to buy a deal, ready to buy a deal, ready to buy a deal. But that second that there's a little bit of interest, hey, give me some data or give me some information. Dude, if you're not urgent, they will not be either. And so that moment that you catch some of their attention, that right there is the most important part. That is the time where it's dude, I literally grabbed somebody's attention for that amount of time. Why would I want to add time to that? So if you know and understand that time kills all deals, then why would I ever want to add time to any type of response, any type of phone call, any type of text, any type of email? You want to be on it very fast. And we had just been talking about the phone so far, but totally, this goes everywhere. This is on text, this is on sold customers, this is on unsold. They want to be helped very quickly. So the more time you add to the deal, the least satisfied they're going to be. So pay a lot of attention to that, be urgent.
Well, let's think about the engagement process. You can speak to this. It's like when you're reaching out to a consumer today, you're making a phone call. Mm-hmm. You're sending them a text while you're making the phone call. You're leaving them a voicemail. You may do a social touch. It's like These are things that the automotive business needs to be engaging with now, because you don't know how that person wants to connect, but when they do connect back with you, then you've got to continue with the flow. So speaking to that a little bit.
It's been really interesting. So, when I reach out and make sales to people, sometimes they won't pick up their phones. A lot of times they definitely don't pick up their office phone. Sometimes they won't pick up their cell phone. Why? Maybe they don't recognize the number and they know that, hey, if I pick it up, maybe it's going to be something that bothers me. A text message typically gets through pretty quicker. The voice message works so well. So I voice message people all day long. Sometimes I can get more of a conversation with somebody by using that technology. Sometimes I'll reach out to them on social media, and it's just been super interesting to see people not pick up my phone call, but they will text me back on Twitter chat. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. I mean, literally immediately. And so if you've seen that, and you're not there, Grant, people always ask him, hey, Grant, what is your favorite social media? And he said, dude, my favorite social media is the one that you're on.
Yeah.
It's the one that you're on, so which one are you on? But that might be different that somebody else is on, right? So you got to pay attention to how they like to communicate.
Yeah, and then I guess just to sum that segment up here is this: time is what you're chasing now in the new normal. That is what everybody is preconditioned to. Because if you look at the giants out there, you look at the industry leaders, you look at the Amazons, you look at the Starbucks, they've started this whole wave of instantaneous gratification. So, through COVID and everything else, ordering groceries. I had never had groceries sent to my house before ever in my life. But obviously with everything going on, went to Amazon, hit Whole Foods. Now the groceries are showing up at my house in an hour. I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. Will I go back to the grocery store again? Not unless I really have to. So that's changed my paradigm, and that's changed my concept of how to buy groceries. So the same thing is happening with the automotive industry. There was many dealers out there, especially in some of the states that were shut down, I believe Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York, where dealers that were thinking with more of a progressive mindset and rolled out an online, digital retailing platform. They were selling cars during COVID and getting them ready to be delivered, whereas most stores were shut down and reopening and starting from ground zero. So it is crucial that you're able to adapt, look at what's going on, and go into change. And let's just face it, most people don't like to change because change is uncomfortable. But what's on the other side of change?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, that's the other side of change. That's where all the opportunity is. But I would tell you, so you had the experience of, man, I'd never ordered groceries online. Well, dude, honestly, I've been only ordering groceries online for 3 years. And what had happened was they plugged the ability for me to grab that online, and I had to start going back to the store, which was weird for me. It really was, because I'd been doing it for 3 years. So I didn't even know, I'm which one's closer? Which one do I go to? And the reason why I bring this up is because it's so important. Grant talks about this. If you go into your Cardone On Demand program, there is the fact finding, and then there's the salesperson's appraisal in there. And the salesperson's appraisal is all about finding out, dude, how did you do this last time? How did you buy last? Did you put money down? How did you get your payments so low? You start going back to all this information where when customers call in, hey, how much shopping have you done online on this particular vehicle? I need to know what's happening with that customer, how they like to buy, because if I am not communicating with them the way that they would prefer to be communicated with, or the way that they like to do deals, then I'm going to lose it. If somebody wants to text it out with me rather than get onto a phone call, or rather come into the store, I don't want to lose the deal just because of the old way of doing things, right? And so I need to find out, dude, how do you like to do it?
Yeah, and the main thing that you're losing there is the most crucial thing in any engagement, and that's rapport. And rapport comes when you communicate and you get into the same wavelength of what your consumer is expecting. So the one thing that right now you have to be very cognizant of is you gotta have a seamless experience, end to end. Do we have any callers on the line? Is David Zuniga on the line? David's a great guy. David's up in New Jersey, and he kind of went through this whole COVID thing, so it'd be interesting to kind of hear his perspective. He and I were chatting the other day, and he was saying this whole customer experience thing is becoming real. So David's on. David, how you doing, bud?
Morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. You want to speak into a little bit about, I know that when you and I were talking last week, we were just kind of going through, going back over the past 60 days and talking about customer experience. So from a dealer's perspective, Speak into a little bit about what you've done to adapt, and what the current climate looks like out there.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think what we determined very early on, and still, and I don't think it'll change, to be honest with you, is we have to put ourselves in the customer's shoes. We're in a lot of different areas. You were just talking about, buying groceries. And in many different areas of our lives, we are consumers, right? Except when we, in the car business, put ourselves in customers' shoes, it's almost like we forget what it was like to buy a car. And so I think the bottom line for us was, what would we want during this time? And streamline that process, make it super easy, make it super convenient, and that is everything from the initial first touch of that customer, and throughout the process, making it as simple as possible, safe and convenient. Those are big words now, right? And just following that through. So from the initial lead coming through, or that phone call coming through, getting right to the point. I know you're afraid to come into the dealership. I know you're worried about your safety and your family's safety. How can I help ease those stresses today? And that has been huge for us, because the response has been great in delivering vehicles through this time, and we've had two of our best months in a long time because of it. So I think everything really plays into convenience at the end of the day, and communicating that on your website, on your social media pages, and then following it through once they do contact you.
David, what were some of the things you guys did that was a little bit different over the past couple months that you think made a significant difference?
Yeah, so I know everybody out there is putting out the same message, showing you're cleaning the car and all of that stuff. We were proactive. Just setting aside the leads for a moment. With our customer base, we were proactive in reaching out to them, letting them know, listen, we know what's going on right now. You need to service your vehicle. Let us pick up the vehicle and bring it into the dealership. No charge to you. Whatever you need, we'll make it safe. We'll come out to you. On top of that, once we did get leads in, which in the beginning, the first thing that customers were saying is, look, I'm just doing the research right now. I don't plan on coming in. And we already knew that was coming. So we trained our people to say the right thing. And the right thing was, listen, at the end of the day, I don't want to sell you a car unless you feel totally comfortable at this moment. And so it disarms people. I think people want to feel like you have their best interests, and you do. You generally do, and you significantly do. But when you portray that effectively, I think that people are more apt and open to discuss what's the next step. So for us, it was word tracked. It was saying the right thing and following through on that process.
Yeah, so I want to unpack a little bit, because you just dropped some gold there. And first and foremost, I love what you started off with awareness, right? The biggest challenge that many dealers had through this process is they forgot about the consumers. They can't read the mind of, are you open? Are you not open? Is service open? Can I come to the showroom? Is it appointment only? What if my lease is maturing? Can you take me the car? So it's important to get that out there on your website still today, let people know what the current situation is, because the reality is, if the fear and the uncertainty and the doubt comes in, people are going to retract and they're not going to move forward and come into the showroom. So you got to let them know that everything is, compliant with the CDC, and, you've sanitized everything and you're ready to go, right? So I love the fact that you created that awareness. Number two, and is essential, is empathy, right? Kind of reaching into somebody else's world and trying to understand maybe what are they dealing with. Get into their head. It's not like you're just trying to sell them a car. We always talk about here, and Grant talks about, service is senior to selling. So everything that you're talking about is right in alignment with what we teach here, is making sure that they understand. But then the other thing, and Steve and I were just talking about this earlier. I mean, Grant's been talking about taking the car to customers for like 10 years. And the fact that you're doing that is awesome. You want to speak on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember 12 years ago when I met Grant in the automotive industry at an event. This is where he had said, guys, you got to start taking cars to dealers, or cars to the customers, because they want it. And I remember listening to audios at that time that he had done many years before that was talking about this exact same thing. And this is where you got to, you know, David said one thing. He said, make it convenient. And that was huge. But what I would really challenge everybody on this call to do is like make a list of all of the areas in your dealer, like what is not convenient about this process? Like where could things run into inconvenience? That way you can be a step ahead to basically identify it and see it, like what Jeff was saying. He was saying, hey, look, man, they don't know, they can't read your mind, that you're open, that you're saved, that you're CDC compliant. Like this is where you gotta basically reach out and make that part convenient. So I thought that was a great point that David made.
So Steve, what happens when people don't know?
They don't do anything. They don't take action. They're
People
slower.
don't know, you get a no, right?
Yeah, that's right. You always get a no.
So you're going to get like they're not going to show up. So it's like you need to be doing. I was telling everybody this when this whole COVID thing hit. They were like, "What do we do?" Everybody was retracting. I'm like, call your service customers, call your equity mining customers, call your orphan owners, hit your lease maturity list. You know, David, you said another thing too that I loved is that you were proactive. That's the biggest problem with the automotive business, guys. It's like, you know, you're used to people coming to you. You're used to being reactive. There is no more of that. You need to be proactive. You need to be able to adapt. You need to be able to make your dealership, you know, create that seamless experience, create that ease of purchasing for the customer. So, I mean, I appreciate you giving us that insight. Now, I don't know if you're still on the line, David, but if you are, when you guys got hit with this, and I believe you guys got shut down in New Jersey, what was that like? I mean, how did you guys pivot in that moment?
Yeah, we got shut down on March 21st, and you know, for a it was a Saturday. I don't forget that, right? So we just had a great day, great Saturday, and then they shut us down. And you know, for a moment it was doom and gloom. You know, what are we going to do? That type of feeling. And then, you know, we just, for me and my team, you know, we always have the same kind of mindset. And I'm really big on mindset, but I believe that you have to be aware of who you are as a team, aware of your strengths and aware of your weaknesses. That's why, you know, I'm very big on post-sale interviews. Where did we go wrong, Mr. Customer? You know, what can we improve on, right? That type of deal. So once we understood, all right, this is where consumer behavior is going to be. How can we pivot and, you know, make sure we maximize every opportunity that we have? We realized that convenience is going to be key, efficiency is going to be key because we're probably going to have skeleton crew. But at the same time, keeping positive. You know, I think that was very big for us, keeping everybody aware and trained on what's going on. And you know, the other thing that I wanted to say was, at that time, you know, nobody really had an answer on what you should be doing. But at the end of the day, we had to be consumer focused. And if you just listened to what your consumers were saying for the last, I don't know how many years, you know, can you speed up the F&I process? Can you deliver the car? Can I get from point A to point Z quicker? But you were ready, you know, and I think in this business, we want to stay true to what has been, you know, the norm for, you know, the last God knows how many years, and it's very hard for us to adjust. But right now is a really good time to adapt to the change because you kind of have to, and if you don't, you're going to go away. But you know, it's a great time to just embrace the way consumers want to shop.
Love that,
and
man.
if you do, you can really, really do well right now, and even more so, I believe, afterward.
I love that, brother. And I appreciate you calling in and giving us the insight. I think all of our listeners really appreciate it. Do we have any other guys on the line? Go ahead. Who do we have on the line this morning?
Bert from Washington.
Bert?
My name's Bert.
Let's go, Bert.
Hey, man. So, first of all, I'm a big fan of Grant, and I've been listening to you guys recently, and I just came to the realization, especially after talking to a coworker. You know, he made $5 million for the company in the first quarter of last year, and in relative terms, we're getting a pittance. And I've also come to realize that I'm in this constant hamster wheel of working for someone else. I'm not able to generate legacy wealth or generate any kind of an economy for myself that helps to institute a change I want in my life, my family's life, and my community's life, and I'm sick of it. And I was wondering if you guys could help me with that.
Definitely.
If there's a program or something that I could join, or a mentorship or something, because I'm sick and tired of not being truly free.
Dude, this is great, Bert. So like I came to a realization like this in my life at one point, and there was something that Grant said that really made sense to me at that time. And he said, listen, if you don't take responsibility for it, you can't change it. So if you're the effect of it, you'll never be able to change the outcome. And so being able to say, hey, listen, I am not at cause over what I'm doing in my business. I'm on that hamster wheel. I need to figure out how to get to the next level. For me, I had realized at that point, and this is when I was hard working I was working at a Honda dealership, and I was showing up every single day. I was putting in all the hours. I was doing all the time. I was waiting there, and I realized, dude, my skills were, the lack of skills that I had was costing me time, energy, effort, and I was missing deals with customers. And then also the fact that I didn't know how to go get my own business was the scariest thing that I realized. I said, hey, dude, I actually, when I show up here, I don't really have a game plan. I'm kind of just waiting to see what happens. So I had to learn how to go get business. And once I started studying the Cardone University program, and I started to learn how to be a successful salesperson, it allowed me to show up with a plan. So like what you're saying right now, like I felt when I was in that store, I was on the hamster wheel. But the reality was I wasn't taking responsibility for my own situation, because I literally flipped it and I quadrupled my income in that same store in less than 60 days using a lot of the training that I learned from Grant through Cardone University. So are you already on the Grant Cardone, the Cardone University program yet?
No, just a bit about myself. I've been coming to this realization for a few months. Mm-hmm. I started my own LLC, and I basically created a pathway to qualify for federal set-asides. The issue is I've never done anything like this, so I don't really have a focus. I just knew that I had this part something.
Yeah, we're doing it. What's the biggest problem you have in your business right now? Is it sales or marketing?
I would say it's both. I mean, I'll just be completely blunt. I have zero sales. I just made a company with no direction.
Can you grab your? I'm going to give you a call when we get off this, man. I'm going to put you into a program that we have right now. It's called the Marketing Mentorship. It's 8 weeks with Grant, and we'll put you on the mentor program. And it's basically where we're spending 8 weeks building out the strategy for you and your business on how to market and blow up your business to the place where people know you, they know about your product, they know about your service, and we can start generating some business.
So Bert, let me ask you a question. So before you started your LLC, what line of business were you in?
So, I have an odd story. So my background is nuclear power. I was in the military, and then after I got out of the military, I operated and managed power plants for a number of years. Then I got into film and entertainment. I made a film with a group of people, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I win, just like that Rudy moment. And I couldn't sell, I couldn't sell hydroxychloroquine to someone with COVID-19. Nothing happened, nothing transpired. And then I got back into critical power, and now I'm a commissioning engineer for hyperscale data centers. I started a business because I saw there were a lot of federal contracts that were out. And because I'm a service-connected disabled vet, I started a business that was registered that way, that would be able to get those federal set-asides and state set-asides. That's the 30-second kind of bio.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this question. I mean, have you written down your goals and your targets? I mean, do you know what that perfect life looks like for you?
No, I do not.
Okay, so that's the start. And that's the thing that I find with most people. And then like yourself, I mean, I started off in the automotive business, and my career was able to progress substantially. But when I got to the point where I started writing my goals and my targets down every single day, and I started to be able to envision where I want to go, it would be like if the three of us jumped in a car and said, hey, we're going to drive from Miami to California with no Google Maps or no Apple Maps. I mean, it would be a pretty interesting trip, right? So it's like most people insist on doing that with their life. So if you don't know where you want to go, and you don't know where you are today and where you want to go and how to get there and what that gap looks like in between, you continue to do the same things over and over and over again. So my advice for you would be two things. First of all would be, if you're not on Cardone University, you need to be. And the reason why is because this is a program that's going to give you everything that you need right now to make that transition. First and foremost, you got to get your mind right. You got to be able to train every single day and get into a platform that's going to set the foundation of what success looks like. Then you need to get a pad and paper and start to write down what your dream life looks like. Get into the platform, and the way that you're going to get there, the way that I was able to get there, the way that Steve was able to get there, the way that Grant was able to get there, is you got to learn how to sell. Because the reality is in life, it's either you're being sold or you're selling someone else. So whether you want to label yourself a salesperson or not, a lawyer's a salesperson, a plastic surgeon's a salesperson, everybody in life is a salesperson in some aspect or the other, but that's going to give you the confidence, that's going to give you the conviction to do anything you want to do in your life. And what Steve was mentioning is we run a mentorship program here that's unbelievable. And the one that we have going on now actually just started last night, so you can jump into this program and really get right engaged with what we're doing here. Mm-hmm. You need to become a master of how to market. That is everything in today's time. You can be the greatest salesperson in the world, but if you're lost in obscurity and nobody knows about you and you can't get your message out there, it's going to be a pretty lonely situation. So we're going to teach you how to become a beast on social media. You're going to get mentored by Grant himself. So Steve's going to reach out to you if you connect with the guys here and give us your phone number. We'll reach out to you after the call and kind of give you a roadmap of what it takes to get you in the right direction. But we appreciate you calling in, my friend.
Thanks, man. So, and one thing that I would actually talk about, like how that conversation even lines up with what we're talking about today. Last night on the mentor program, we were talking a lot about like the differences between advertising, promotion, distribution, like all the different things that branding, like all of these different things. And, people, I remember before I had found Grant Cardone, it was literally all this stuff, sales and marketing, all this. I didn't even know the terms. It was a mystery to me. I just showed up to the store, and that is why I was not getting where I want. So the problem I see with most salespeople is, when they think of advertising and sales, they think the dealership must run advertising, where today, dude, you guys have got to put yourself in a position to brand. Like you should have a brand. Like, what do people think when they think of you or your name? This is what I started to see early. I was like, man, I got to start creating a place, a name online. Also, like promotion. And this is where, when a lot of this stuff had happened over the past couple months, dude, you getting the right promotion out to show people that, hey, we get it, we understand, we're available, this is the ways we can help you out right now, and we're willing to go the extra mile, whether it's come pick you up, come pick up your vehicle, deliver the vehicle, whatever the case may be. And if you can understand a lot of the stuff that Grant talks about in the advertising, the mentor program, that is what was needed over the past 60 days for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Nathan, if you could just pop back up the call-in number. We got about 10 minutes left, so if anybody would like to call in, and I just want you guys to know that this show is called the 10X Automotive Weekly, but I have people on here in the furniture industry. I have, doctors, dentists, chiropractors, roofers, home services, Fortune 500 companies that watch this show. So what we're talking about here can be applied to any business, but the first step for all of you on this call is to ask questions to be able to build your knowledge. Building your knowledge and setting the commitment to be better today than you were yesterday is definitely going to get you started in the next direction. So please call in 305-865-8668. So Steve, I think what we covered today is extremely important, and we want all of you to know that every single week we're going to be coming to you guys, bringing you knowledge, information, strategies, and tactics that are proven. Mm-hmm. These are not theory-based. These are things that we've used here at Cardone Enterprises to build a $150 million company, and our founder, Grant Cardone, has raised $1.8 billion in capital. Now watch this. The majority of the fundraising that he did was crowdsourced, meaning he did it through social. So this is why you want to be on this mentorship call, to learn from a master of marketing and how he was able to build this empire. So if you'd like some more information on the mentorship program, do you have that? You can throw it up on the screen so people can see it. Yep. I'd love for you guys to be able to see that.
You know, one of the other things too that we could also talk about on the customer experience is, you know, not just what happens up front, but like what happens on the back end of the deal, right? Where, you know, we talk about speed and urgency. And if you guys go to Cardone On Demand or your Cardone University program and you actually look in your follow-up, there's a whole box in there on how to follow up for 2 years the customers that you've already sold. Now, I remember, like, this is one thing that I think a lot of people in the business know, that the B-backs, the people that you continue to sell, that book of business that you're creating, that is a very successful strategy on having a great long-term career. And I know when I got in the business, I was asking like, hey, how do I get sales here? And literally one of the first responses, which wasn't the best piece of advice at that time because I was brand new, but he was like, well, you got to be here for 3 or 4 years. The reason he was saying that, because there was a part that was true, is look, you got to be able to create that book of business of people that have had great experiences with you so they can keep coming back. Now, I know the dealers, the manufacturers today, their interest on this topic of like keeping people, you know, continuing like the family, the generational, you know, buying through that store, they have a heavy focus on it. But it starts with the salesperson. And so when you go to the follow-up program and you look inside Cardone On Demand and you actually look at that follow-up to current sold customers, it's going to give you the step-by-step process, and you're going to know there's a follow-up on day 0. There's a follow-up on day 1, day 3, day 7, day 14. It goes all the way out to 30. It jumps to 60. It goes to 6 months. There's a laid out, structured plan of just what to do, how to say it, and how to really stay in with that customer. And I'll tell you, the reason Grant built that was because the salespeople wanted to keep the customers. They wanted to give the good customer satisfaction, but what happened was they didn't know what to say. So that part of the program is literally 60-second videos that just says, hey, you sold this customer 6 months ago. Here's what the phone call looks like. Here's what you should expect. Here's what you might run into. And here's the 2 or 3 questions that you want to ask. And this is how you, number one, make sure they're satisfied, make sure they have a great experience, and then also, you know, work your book of business for more referrals. And I'll just tell you that you won't get the referrals if you haven't got those.
We have a caller on the line, guys? Okay, who do we have on? Taylor from San Antonio. How you doing?
Hey, guys.
What's happening? How can we help?
Hey, how would you get a 401k established for your employees, like a small business?
How would you get a 401k established for your small business? You know, I'm not the right person to answer that question, unfortunately. You know, you would probably want to like contact your accountant and find out. For most small businesses, most of them typically don't go with a 401k. If you don't have a certain amount of employees, you would have to go with some sort of an IRA program, maybe a 501k or something like that. But I would recommend to definitely reach out to your accountant. They would be the best person to give you that information.
Yeah, because there's several questions that I have, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm looking to start my own site business, like an excavation business. But, you know, of course, I've got, you know, 100 questions I could sit here and ask you.
Okay, ask me 2 questions. You got 2 questions. What are the 2 most burning questions you have right now? Let's wrap it around business, either scaling your business, building your business, marketing. What would those questions be?
Okay, the first one, how do you get established in commercial site work, you know, business in a sense? Like, because it's a who knows who type business in a sense. If nobody knows you, how do you get established?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Grant always says that if nobody knows you, nobody flows you. You don't get any money, you don't get attention. So what you need to do is you need to find out where that audience lives. And then you need to start promoting yourself in that. I mean, I can guarantee you somewhere on social media, there are groups. I would recommend going on LinkedIn, promoting yourself on LinkedIn, getting into groups of people in a similar type of business. Go to your chambers of commerce. Find out, you know, other people in those industries. Take a look at their websites. Find out what they do, you know, where they market, you know, network with people. It's all about, it's a networking game. But the fortunate thing that you have for you today that many people didn't have 10, 15 years ago is social media. You can consistently get your message out there. You can target specific audiences. So that would be my recommendation. Do you have one on that, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, it just like, listen, man, I gotta ask. Like, you went from how do I start a 401k to okay, I need to get known in my business. So what I would do, like, that just tells me like it doesn't sound like you've really got a plan in place. And so I would start with like, dude, what's the most important thing right now? And I would sit down to figure out, hey, I'd probably need to get sales before I can bring people on. Like, this is what Grant talks about when he builds a business. So what Jeff's saying is go out, like, find the areas. He's like, find the, like, if you want to go fishing, like, find the pond that you want to fish in. You know what I mean? Like, this is where, like, you got to find out, like, those people that would buy that service, where are they at? How do I get known with them? And then call them. What's the call look like? So this is where, like, Cardone University is literally the whole program for that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would love to get into something that's more hands-on, you know what I'm saying, like where I can speak with people directly and just be like,
well, let me ask you this question. So how comfortable on a scale of 1 to 10 do you feel on like your phone skills? Because in your business and every other business, a lot of it is revolved around cold calling, right? Calling people up, trying to connect. So how comfortable do you feel on the phone?
Honestly, 0.
Excellent. Well, we got a way that we can help you with that. What I would recommend is for you to get wrapped into our Cardone University product, and this is going to give you a lot of great intel, because what I was just explaining to the caller earlier, no matter what business that you're in and what you're trying to do right now is you need to learn how to become a master salesperson, because you're going to need to sway people away from what they're currently doing to be able to partner up with you. But not only that, there's going to be many different instances in this process for you where you're going to have to sell your way. Eventually, you may have to sell your way to generate capital. So I would definitely recommend getting on this program because this is going to help you. So right now, how many employees do you have?
At the moment, it's just myself.
Okay, great. So we got a solution for him. What do you want to recommend to him?
I would tell you that there's a program on grantcardone.com. It's called How to Make Millions in Business. I would go get the audio, the video, whichever one you like to learn with, and start there, and then Cardone University. Because what happens is, man, you just need to get going in the right direction. And once you can start moving and building that business in the right direction and get the right things, because, you've got to be able to get that product or I don't know if it's just you doing the work, if it's you one-on-one, but it's going to teach you like how to actually start to scale, like how to hire an employee, how to actually identify who you want on your team, who would be the most important person, then from where to go from there, what customers, how do you go find those customers? So a lot of those questions that you may not have asked yet are going to be sitting inside those programs. That's why it's so important to actually do those.
And not only that, but I mean, you're looking to start a business in a very volatile time. So we have content in there on how to build your business in the current environment, which is crucial. I mean, Grant shot this material in the middle of the COVID situation. So the content in there is super relevant. So again, go ahead and send us your information, and I'll have Steve reach out to you at the end of the call. We'll get you what you need, but we appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Do we have any other callers?
I would tell you guys, look, the purpose of like training, like, so a lot of the questions that we got today were things that are built in programs inside the Cardone U program. So, the purpose of doing that, like if you're not on the program yet and you're wondering like, man, well, how come they're always talking about that Cardone University program? Dude, because training will collapse time. If there's a learning curve to you building a business, if there's a learning curve to you becoming great at sales, if there's a learning curve to you becoming a great marketer, look, just collapse that by finding out what is somebody who's been successful done, like what were the steps they took. And that's what those programs are about. So that's why we recommend them so much, because it is able to help you and your business basically shorten that time.
Yeah. So one thing in closing here that I want to bring up is a lot of you here are hungry for knowledge. And I love that, because that's how you're going to get to the next level, is to continue to gather knowledge. But the one component, without a doubt, that'll take you from where you are to where you want to be is to have a coach. So if you're an athlete, if you're an actor, if you're a CEO of a company, many of these individuals have many coaches. They might have a nutrition coach, they might have a financial coach, they might have a quarterback coach, they might have an acting coach. You need to have a coach too. So the one thing I want you to realize, guys, can we throw up the coaching slide on the screen, please? We have a coaching program here that is unbelievable. It is a 52-week program, and what we do is we work with you to get you to that next level, and we wrap this around our virtual training platform, whether it's Cardone On Demand for automotive or it's Cardone University for any other businesses out there in the marketplace. We work with you to get you where you are to the next level. Every single week, we spend an hour with you virtually through a Zoom call, and like this. So imagine the impact of you have Steve and I on a call just for your business for 1 hour every single week for 52 weeks. What do you think your business would look like after that? What do you think your business would look like to be able to ask somebody the burning questions that you have of how to get to that next level? So if you're interested in that, we can also I was just talking to Grant the other day. Let's keep it back up on the screen, guys. I was just talking to Grant the other day. So for all my automotive friends on this call, we need to get that back up on the screen. For all my automotive friends on this call, we have a special offer out. Guys, take advantage of this offer. I promise you, this will make you 100 times the amount of your investment. We have automotive coaching that we have going on right now. And again, if you're in another vertical as well, we can also help you. But we have a special that's going to be going on between now to the end of June. It's $9.95 if you want 2 calls a month with our trained experts in automotive and in business. And if you want to do it every single week for 52 weeks, it's $19.95. So if you have any questions about that, please email steve@grantcardone.com and he'd be happy to assist you with it. But this is going to get you to the next level. You can watch videos all day, but if you don't know how to apply them and you don't have somebody to help you, and most of us don't, I know I didn't. I had to find a mentor. My first mentor was Grant Cardone. He helped get me to the next level. So leverage us to get you to the next level. We appreciate you jumping on the show today. I'm Jeff Bounds. This is Steve Spray. And we'll see you next Friday on the 10X Automotive Weekly.
See you guys next time.
Hello and welcome to the 10X Automotive Weekly. My name is Jeff Bounds and I'm the head of automotive with Grant Cardone and Cardone Automotive Resources.